Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint Germain family. Previously, we reacted to Ousmane Dembele and Desire Doue's injury, and in today's video, we'll be discussing who will be replacing them. What am I looking from the Paris Saint Germain attack in the upcoming games? We'll be missing star boy Desire Doue and Ballon d'Or Ousmane Dembele. The first thing we have to look at is the games they're going to be missing. Doue will miss Lens, Atalanta, Marseille, Auxerre, and uncertain for the Barca game was Ousmane Dembele, Tiercelan, Atalanta, Marseille, Auxerre, Barca, Lille. And then I would guess uncertain for the Strasbourg game because there's an international break, as you can see, between the Lille and the PSG game. But they're going to be out for a while. And let's take a look at what we will do without Dembele and Desire Doue. The first thing, obviously, to look at are these two. Bradley Barcola and Kvicha Kvaratskhelia. As I said before, Dembele, golden boy. This will be the new Ballon d'Or golden boy. Kvicha has to perform at a Ballon d'Or level as the star player of this team. There's a reason we bought Kvicha Kvaratskhelia in January. There's a reason we won the Champions League thanks to his impact, both with the ball and off the ball. And Bradley Barcola has to take that step, has to take that leap. Before, it was a tough competition with Desire Doue and Kvicha Kvaratskhelia, but now Bradley Barcola is going to be pushed into being the second striker, second attacker of Paris Saint Germain attack, similarly to the group stage last season. It was Dembele as the main man and Bradley Barcola as the secondary attacking option, and now Barcola is back to that position. We haven't seen Kvicha lead Paris Saint Germain from the front line, apart from maybe the Arsenal first game. The second leg versus Arsenal, where Dembele missed the game from the start. Kvicha, I remember, hit the post, I think, against Arsenal or something, from a counter-attack, I remember. So Kvicha will need to be the leader of this team offensively. He obviously contributed and was part of the second goal as well. And Bradley Barcola, we're looking for that leap. We're looking for that leap. Third season in, he's made astonishing growth and progress during his time at Paris Saint Germain, but he has to step up. Big games coming up. Atalanta in the UCL and FC Barcelona in the UCL. And we're going to play Marseille in the league, Lille as well. Not that easy game. So Bradley Barcola, Kvicha Kvaratskhelia, that's the first message when it comes to Paris Saint Germain attack without Dembele and Doue. These two guys have to step up big time for Paris Saint Germain. Next up, we're going to take a look at who's going to play alongside them. And there are so many different alternatives. In the beginning, I asked on Twitter one or two. One had Gonçalo Ramos in it, one had Kangili in it. But then I saw the comments and people's imagination, man. I love it. So Gonçalo Ramos is the first pick with Gonçalo Ramos, and then we will discuss, all the negatives. We'll just go through all the picks. You got Gonçalo Ramos, traditional striker. Barcola plays on the right, Kvicha on the left. They could also interchange. It could be Kvicha on the right and Bradley Barcola off the left. Then you have this one with Kangili as the false nine. PSG more playing like a four-man midfield with Kangili playing between a number 10 and a false nine. And then Barcola and Kvicha will ask more goals from them because they will invert a little bit more. And obviously we have the fullbacks that can push up. And then obviously with Kangili being a bit versatile, we can see maybe Barcola being tried out as a striker. We saw that versus Bayern München at the Club World Cup. But here comes the imagination from the Parisians, which I agree with. All right, not this one. Kvicha as a false nine can also be used. Barcola can be used there. Kangili, because we knew Dembele is the false nine. If Dembele doesn't play, it's Desire Doue, then Luis Enrique would opt in that false nine position. But without him, this is the first imagination, and that is Nuno Mendes up in the attack. Nuno Mendes is the left winger, Kvicha Kvaratskhelia is a false nine, and Bradley Barcola on the right. And we did it with Nuno. We can do it with Achraf Hakimi as well as a right winger. This is really interesting because there is a couple of games, which means that we have to prepare in a certain way, and we have big Champions League games coming up. So it's not like a 1 game, 2 game where we don't have to make some adjustments. No, we could potentially be needing to make big adjustments. And obviously, if Hakimi is playing there, it's going to be Zabarni as a right back. I've already mentioned the reports about Zabarni potentially playing as a right back for PSG. And if Nuno pushes up, it's obviously Pacho. Not double Pacho. It would be Marquinhos, Zabarni as the 2 centre-backs. Pacho takes that left-back spot. Or it could also be Lucas Hernandez. And that's the thing. When it comes to Lucas Hernandez, that's something we see in a lot of Paris Saint-Germain games. Minute 17, a big Champions League game. Luis Enrique subs out Kvicha Kvaratskhelia, an attacker, tells Nuno Mendes to push up to that position and place Lucas Hernandez as the left-back. Before we start talking about these guys, I actually want to see games. Because for me, the one I like the most out of the ones that we recently looked at is the Nuno Mendes one. For me, that's the cheekiest one. That's the one I would want to look into a bit more. Apart from Kangili and Gonçalo. That's the basic, that's the simple. I want to look at these interesting ones. So I'm trying to think of a game where that happened. Maybe Arsenal? Did it happen here, maybe? Let me see. Barcola got subbed out. No, subbed in. All right, we got to find a game then where Lucas Hernandez was subbed in. Maybe the Champions League final? All right, Lucas Hernandez was subbed in. Okay, but Nuno was subbed out in this game. Come on, I just need to find one good example here. Maybe Aston Villa, we did that? Did we do it versus Aston Villa? No. Anyways, so what usually happens is Lucas Hernandez plays in that left back position and Nuno Mendes pushes up. This is something we've seen before. We even saw a game where Nuno Mendes started the game as the left winger as well. So going over these are the two basic ones, as I mentioned, with Gonçalo Ramos or Kangin Lee. Barcola and Kvicha keep their place. It's not that much adjustments. Then you can maybe try Kvicha as a false nine, Barcola as a striker, a little bit of more adjustments. Or you can go full adjustment and play one of the fullbacks up in the attack, or even try both of them. I don't really know what Luis Enrique is going to do. We do know that Luis Enrique doesn't take the biggest risks. Sometimes, though, takes huge risks, like playing 4 attackers versus Spurs, 4 attackers in his first Champions League away game versus Newcastle. We all remember that. So it all depends on where Luis Enrique is, how confident is he in the squad. Obviously, the biggest thing from the team will be the midfield. The midfield will have to, overcompensate for the weaknesses in attack. But I'm very confident that Luis Enrique will find a way. But it's really interesting. You guys let me know in the comments. Kangin Lee, Gonçalo Ramos, Nuno Mendes, or Achraf Hakimi. I like the Nuno Mendes one a lot. I like the Nuno Mendes one a lot because this is something we have tried before. Obviously, how will it look on Kangin Lee and Gonçalo? They are the attackers and Luis Enrique is moving up a left back. I still think Lucho will go simple. I think he will go with Gonçalo Ramos. Could see Kangin Lee as a false nine. These are two we have seen. The issue for me with Gonçalo Ramos is just starting games. When you look at Gonçalo Ramos, if you look at Gonçalo Ramos from last season, let me see, Gonçalo Ramos. Look at Gonçalo Ramos games. I mean, he got 19 goals. 19 goals as a rotation is very good. But let's take a look at the games he started. So why is game started? Why? 1 goal, 1 assist in game started here. Decent. Another goal there. Nothing. 1 assist. Nothing. 1 goal. 1 goal. Nothing. 1 goal. It's actually hat-trick versus Montpellier. It's not that bad. Maybe I had a worse version of Gonçalo Ramos starting games. But I feel like when he starts games, he's way more impactful off the bench. That's where majority of his stats came from. But looking back at it, Gonçalo Ramos, I think that will be the preliminary one. And Gonçalo Ramos will take this as a huge opportunity. Gonçalo Ramos has to take this as a huge opportunity. This is your chance to, tell the Parisians, tell the world that you can potentially one day be a starter at Paris Saint Germain. So heavy pressure on Gonçalo Ramos. For in starting these games. I think in the first game versus Arsenal, we will see Gonçalo Ramos starting up top. Kangin Lee, as said, Luis Enrique has done it before, could try it again. It will become more of a 4-man midfield. Kangin Lee playing as a 10. And then I think the fullbacks one are really interesting, especially the Nuno Mendes one, because that's something we have seen. So you know what? I'll put the Gonçalo one at number 1, just starting Gonçalo, simple and basic. Secondary one, Nuno Mendes. And Kangin Lee. I don't think the Hakimi one will happen. I don't see that happening. We already have no backup right back, so I don't see Hakimi being played in another position. And he's so important from that position as a right back from what he does. The Hakimi one, I absolutely do not see it happening. Nuno one is cheeky, but as I said, the most basic ones are Gonçalo Ramos and Kangin Lee. But you guys let me know. Gonçalo Ramos, Kangin Lee, Nuno Mendes, or Achraf Hakimi. But the team will have to perform well. The team will have to perform well. And as I said, this is a good test to this team, losing Dembele, who's so crucial and important for us. Let's see how Paris Saint Germain can perform with big games coming up. Marseille, Barcelona, Atalanta in the Champions League. That's been it from Boy PSG. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. And as usual, allez, Paris.